All right, I'm always practicing with my long line because it just never ends. There's just an unending list of perfection you can at least strive for. It doesn't come, but excellence can. And so when I'm out here practicing with my long line, here's a few things that have helped me, and maybe they'll help you. And the first thing is, say we're gonna do a single spey with a long line. One thing that will help, and I'll let you guys decide what a long line is, but if you feel like it's long, that's probably long enough, right? So one thing that will help you with your single spey or your snake roll or any cast, any airborne cast, is to lift slow and smooth and then transition into the sweep slow and smooth, and do not panic. I find myself panicking sometimes, and usually it comes when I'm gonna try to cast further, and so your brain kind of gets psyched out. And so if we do the lift slow and smooth and then the sweep nice and slow and smooth, not thinking about accelerating really, but just smoothness, and that anchor placement out in front, and keeping your wits about you, and rotating your body and pushing with your bottom hand. The slower you go, and watch your lift and watch the line as it comes off the water. So you go slow and then rotate, push, and cast. So as opposed to trying to speed everything up, lift, sweep, wait, and cast. Okay, now you can change the tempo and everything, but you want that mellow, soft, relaxed tempo even with the long line, so we get our good anchor placement. So lift slow, sweep slow, try to keep your hands not doing too many herky-jerky things. Try to make everything smooth. And then again, I'm gonna watch, and I'm gonna slow myself down, and I'm gonna watch my line come out of the water, and when a lot of it's out, I'm gonna rotate and cast. But I'm not gonna try to get a fast, flat V-loop at this point, because that doesn't seem to really help me. I just want a smooth anchor placement and cast. And then, so don't panic during the sweep. Be slow. Save your panicking for the forward cast like I do. The other thing is, I have to remind myself every cast to pull with my bottom hand. It's like I'll get to casting pretty good. I remind myself to pull with the bottom hand during the forward cast, and lo and behold, I'll get instead of just getting an average cast, I'll get a much better cast. See, I thought about the bottom hand and I pulled with it, okay? So, I mean, you'd think it'd be ingrained, but oh no. Now, the other thing is, it'll help you to reel in some line. Don't shoot any line. Don't shoot a bit of line. And notice that you can just tip cast the thing. You can tip cast it and when you just, tip casting is more of how the rod's designed. There's some rods that tip cast good, others that don't. Like try tip casting a Sage Igniter, like the 712-6-4. That thing will not tip cast. But some rods you can tip cast with, and I'm not saying that we're tip casting per se. I'm basically saying that if you keep the rod kind of upright and just feel as if you're casting off the tip, then you won't get psyched out and your mind won't get all screwed up and think about casting hard. You'll still think about casting properly with I like a high rod stop. I like to feel like I'm casting off the tip. Okay, so I like to feel like I'm just casting off the tip with 0 line shot. And then that way, if I want to do a snake roll, I'm amazed that if I don't shoot any line and just get a tight loop, practice my loop, the whole cast goes better. So if you can groove the short, easy cast over and over and over again, and then just start, see you, buddy. If you can groove the short casts over and over and over again, your whole lift, sweep, forward cast, all that stuff will stay tight, and then you can get that ingrained in your brain, and when you go to shoot more line, you'll realize that you don't really have to muscle the whole freaking rod, and you know, getting the power out of the butt of the rod is just proper casting. You don't try to like muscle it. I do best if I just cast off the tip. Just a little pop. So if I'm going to do a snake roll, back and forth, not shoot any line, get a whole bunch of reps in, and remind myself that I don't need to overpower the rod. As soon as you start stripping off lengths of line, or at least for me, when I do that, it's like my brain goes into muscle mode, and then I start casting improperly. But if I remind myself a lot to cast by my bottom hand pulling and casting just with the tip of the rod, that happens. You get a nice, high, narrow loop. That's what I'm after. So, hope that helps.